Oh, oh. Good evening, Miss Langley. Good evening, Miss Robinson.
Good evening. Happy belated Mother's Day to everyone.
Thank you. I'm not sure how many people we'll have tonight because I think Councilman Shay Osa is having something at Weeksville.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock. I'm actually supposed to be there, so I call in.
I'm a little
I'm surprised
surprised that some of these folks are not giving people a Zoom option. Because with these variants, I'm not keen about going out to these meetings. I'm going to give people a few minutes. And we had originally thought that there would be a presentation this evening, but there won't be one. So if no one else shows up, we will end it early. Because I'm sure there may be a few people who might want to actually chance going to Weeksville in person to hear what he has to say, because I understand that he has quite a few agencies that should be represented tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally behind my house, so I figured I would do this and then at 7 o'clock walk over.
Have you met the new executive director yet?
No,
Neither have I.
and they haven't been to the board meeting. Or maybe I missed it. The community board meeting.
I'm trying to remember. I have to ask Miss George. I don't actually recall. I recall hearing him speak, but I'm not sure if he was well, he may have spoken to the board. I can't say that he did not.
Ron is no longer there, right? This is a new person.
Yes, this is a new gentleman.
Okay.
And I think from what I have read, there should be some one of the events for the Dance Africa will be held at Weeksville.
Oh.
They have something, a ceremony for the ancestors or something. I forgot exactly what they call it. And they should be having it there at Weeksville. And then that afternoon, they will have an actual dance or series of dance performances at Restoration as part of the kickoff of Dance Africa.
Okay. I think I saw a flyer through the 77 precinct. Miss Stewart, I think, sent something. But this should be coming out to the community board. I mean, like,
Well, you know what? They had sent me a booklet because I'm a member of BAM.
okay.
My membership is still good. It will probably expire soon if it hasn't already. And I had forgotten to send it into the office so they could put it into the newsletter.
It might be banned too, because I have a membership with them. So it might have been that's where I saw some of the information.
Yeah, the it's called Tribute to the Ancestors,
Yeah.
and it will be May 21st at Weeksville at 10 a.m. in the morning. And then the Dance Africa Community Day will be also on May 21st at Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Plaza at 1 p.m. And both events are rain or shine. And just as a point of information, they have something called Film Africa because every year they have some sort of film festival in connection with Dance Africa. So this year will start on May 27th and it'll run through June 2nd.
Where is it being held at?
The film should be inside because you know they have a couple of small theaters within Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Oh, okay.
And then they're going to have the marketplace with the vendors outside. I think that should start maybe that Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But the films themselves should be in one of, I think they have 2 or 3 small theaters in BAM. So that's where they show the films.
Okay.
And these are all ticketed events, right?
Yes. According to the book, tickets for the Dance Africa itself starts at $25. And the tickets for the films are $15 each from what I'm understanding, 11 for seniors and veterans. Welcome, Princess.
Good evening, all. I'm on the road.
Oh, you are? I hope you're not driving.
No.
Okay, and I could tell by the expression of your voice that you're smiling.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Velas, is good that you're attending with us today. Are you out in your garden, Princess?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Miss Jordan.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ethel. So I guess only Miss Robinson will be attending the town hall this evening.
I don't think I'm ready to go out to the meeting as yet.
Well, I work in an incubator, so I know I'm not ready.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like I said, it's right in my backyard. I'm gonna see if it's something I'm not comfortable with I'm heading my behind right home. Right home.
Well, Mr. Velas, you're very quiet today.
Hello,
Yes.
how's everybody's doing?
Good.
We're good. I was just saying how quiet you are today.
Oh no, oh no, I'm just listening for the time being, but very
Okay.
soon. Yeah, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while, right?
Well, I tell you, I was just speaking about the fact that one of our council people is having a town hall meeting tonight at Weeksville, which will start at 7.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that may account for the fact that we haven't seen certain people's name pop up yet. And I would like very much to meet this new executive of Weeksville, but I'm not really keen on going places where there might be a crowd.
Oh, I see. Yes, right. Mm.
No one thought to give us a Zoom option for that particular meeting, so I'll have to find out from someone who's there what was said.
Okay.
But that person is talking about housing.
They're supposed to have representatives from different agencies there. From what I understand, HBD should be one of them.
No, because what happened, I met with them somewhere, and they and the attorney general is supposed to be working on something on housing. Remember a few meetings ago, I had spoken about what's happening. Developers are calling, and so I think
Yes.
that is on. I think that's on the agenda to be addressed this evening.
Okay.
Yeah, at least according to them personally.
Okay.
Yes. So, like you said, Ms. Granville, you're going to hear from someone, and I share the same view with you.
If I remember correctly, Princess, that was to halt the harassment of people trying to buy your property and constantly harassing you about it.
Pipeline. So I think that is one of the topics there that is being addressed this evening too.
Okay.
It seems like Miss Robinson is heading there.
She
Well,
is.
I'm,
She is.
I live right around behind it, so I'm actually on my way to park my car in the driveway and just walk right through Kingsborough to go there. But it starts at 7, so I think I have some time to grab something to eat. But I'm gonna be on the phone. I mean, I want to hear what's happening with this committee, so I'm not gonna. And even if I go, I'm still gonna be on the phone. So the beautiful of Zoom, WebEx is you can be in 2 places at once.
So Miss Robinson, when you come back, you're gonna share with us all the good details.
That's if I don't walk out first, because it's usually those meetings are usually, it's a challenging, especially when you had a rough day, 9 to 5, and then I'm hoping it's a productive meeting and it's not just a bashing session. I've had enough of those. And I'm hoping they're able to come with so if they already know what the issues are, come with some concrete next step or some follow-up or just something. Not just come and everybody's giving the problems again. I mean, these are things that we've been talking about for how long?
A long time.
So I don't want to sit in a meeting where we're going back and forth, repeating the questions and, so I'm hoping that's not what that is.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Who's speaking, Diane?
Yes.
Hi, Diane. I'm happy that you joined us. We were just talking about the fact that our council member is having a town hall meeting this evening at Weeksville.
She was supposed to be there?
Well, it's an in-person meeting and we were not given a Zoom option.
Oh. That's Council Crystal?
No, Chiose.
Oh, okay.
Listen to me, Mr. Corbett is on the rise. And I had a scared with that recently, and I'm not playing because 3 of my students tested positive, and I was in the nurse's office to be tested. And seeing that I am negative, I'm going to stay that way.
Well, I can't blame you because in my place of business, it's not who has it, it's who hasn't had it.
Yeah.
God has covered me so far, even when it was crazy, when people were dropping like flies. And I didn't get it, so I don't think I want to deal with it now. So something I've done that is, I have lived smartly, so I'm going to continue living that way and try to stay out of huge crowd if I can as much as possible. But I think he should have given an option to the seniors, at least.
Princess, Crown Heights North had a big 20th year meeting last week, and they did not give an option for Zoom either, and that's why Miss Granville stayed home. I have the great respect for them. I'm happy about the fact that they've been in existence for 20 years, but I just could not see myself going to an in-person meeting, especially with all these variants flying around.
Person meeting is, but that place is so everyone is so close to each other. So it's not like you have an option to space out or do different things differently.
You're right, because in the Children's Museum, they really don't have room for you to spread out.
Is that the Children's Museum or Weeksville?
No, I'm saying the meeting that they had last week was in the Children's Museum. The one tonight is in Weeksville.
Yeah, but at
Unless
least
they're
the
doing it
Children's
outside.
Museum is bigger, so at least you can, or you can
Yeah.
stand. But Weeksville itself, you know, I love my Weeksville, but
Okay, ladies. So in the meantime, who has a housing concern?
Madam Chair, I guess since Sarah Lazar isn't here, we don't have anyone to beat the drum on that tonight.
To beat the drum on what exactly?
Housing concerns of any kind, color, size, duration.
Well, listen, I would not be surprised to know that she's already in place at Weeksville.
Yes, exactly.
What time is it? Okay. Wait, is the meeting supposed to start at 6:30 or 7?
I believe 7.
Or
Okay,
seven.
I think
So
7. Okay, yeah, I'm not going over there too early. Like
I thought
literally.
I'd be able to hear about general reactions to the lifting on the eviction moratorium and the recommendations from the rent rent stabilization board, rent guidelines board, and the other related entities to raising rents here in the city. But she's not here. It'll come back to haunt us. There's so many large real estate owners, so large apartment buildings, 20 units and more, that are beating the drum for rent increases. But from what I'm reading in the papers, those landlords are supposed to prove or show that the rent increases are going to the building for improvements in services and to make them whole for the expenses, gas, and stuff like that, especially gas. So that should be interesting.
Does that include repairs to the building?
It should, and replacements for appliances and so on. Refrigerators and stoves that don't work, showers that don't work, stuff like that, sinks and everything.
Should be interesting.
No one's really checking So,
And I'm finding that it seems like generally everybody wants to raise everything because of the money that they didn't make during COVID.
well, I'll leave it to Ms. Princess Ben James to talk about tenants who took advantage of the situation, saying, they didn't have any money, but they were working.
They didn't pay rent and buying new car.
It's shameful, especially for a small landlord.
We're getting so many calls. I mean, it breaks my heart when these, especially senior landlord or homeowners, are coming in asking for help, and the tenants who have jobs, who are not paying the rent, and who got the money for the rent relief and are back owing rent, because once they sign that paper, you can't evict them or change the rent for a whole year. So you have to start off. So now you have another year that person is going to be living free. That homeowner now has to pay an attorney to open a new case. And no one is talking.
I'm sorry, I thought the eviction moratorium was ended.
No, I'm done. I'm talking about the fact that those that got the rent relief money, the landlord now has to start the homeowner now has to start a new case to take them to court. Now remember, they haven't had rent for how many months? Their mortgage is still due. Now they have to find an attorney. And these are senior homeowners. No one is talking about that. Everyone is talking about the renters. Yeah, there are some renters who, are financially in a situation, but I'm seeing more people, renters, who are able to pay the rent and are choosing not to, and people that look like homeowners that look like me are losing the property because they can't keep up with the mortgage. And trying to get mortgage assistance, the hoops and stuff that they have to go through is ridiculous.
I think there should be help for the small homeowners who were in that predicament. They should be able to get a forbearance request from groups like NYPIRG and other Lawyers Alliance for New York would help them at no fee, no charge, to prepare letters to their lenders asking for forbearance.
The problem is, Ms. Harris, that most of the senior homeowners either are embarrassed, don't know where to go. They come to us when the door is about to shut, and and it's because a lot of it, especially homeowners from the Caribbean, pride. They don't want anybody knowing their business. They don't want, and then when they do come for help, it's almost too late.
Okay, are there advertisements in the local papers regarding the available programs?
Blacks folks don't read. Sorry.
Now.
We don't read. They don't read. They don't
That's
read.
true. That's true. We don't,
They don't read.
we as senior homeowners, it's true, we don't read everything. And we don't know, by the time we get the information, it's already too late.
Too late, yeah. They don't read.
And it's always say that you can go to these places to get help. But by the time they fill out the forms and get someone to help them fill out the forms, then it's another year gone by that you have not received any rent. I know a person who is selling their house because they're so far behind and the tenants is giving them a hard time. So they're just selling the house.
Lord.
And that happens.
But not only that, okay, I have a tenant who she was on the jacket for the case, and it was on the 7th, and she filed a case to get rent assistance like 3 days prior to that happened. So now we have to wait for another 90 days, which she have never done that for all the years she have been living in my place. So they are using the system to get away with it.
So she
And
thought it was like the one-shot deals of yesteryear, that
I
they're
don't-
gonna give you money right away?
No, but then if you read it, like they're saying there's no money to help homeowners, and the fact remains they're only giving you back rent for 2 years. They're not go past 2 years. So what about tenants who have owned landlord beyond 2 years? What happened to those landlords? You know what? What nobody don't say. Everybody's tenant driven, but eventually there are going to be more people homeless, and my tenants work, and they're not paying. And the fact remains that when they go to court, the landlords, when they finally have get evicted out of your place, the other landlords are not accepting them. Yeah, because you're
that's
not
true.
paying your rent, they're not accepting you.
That's true.
Well, if
But
they
you see,
haven't
some of
paid
us don't
rent in 2
understand
years,
that.
they should have the down payment on a house of their own by now.
Oh no, they buy furniture and buy things of the world.
They buy cars and they buy expensive sneakers and all that kind of stuff with the money.
Yep, they're too busy shopping.
Yes.
There's a house in Canarsie where the lady have a sign that says, "My tenant hasn't paid rent for 24 months and bought a
Yep.
new Mercedes." I
That's
saw
my
it.
that's my
I saw it.
constituent. That's
I'm
my
sorry,
constituent.
Princess, say that again. The sign says what now?
My tenant has not paid rent for 24 months but bought a new Mercedes Benz.
That is my constituent. That's
It's in
my
Canarsie.
constituent. Yep, that's my constituent.
It's a sign. Somebody told me about it. I saw it on Facebook, but so happy I was going through. So
No, it's true.
go for a
It's
meeting
true.
and it was posted on
Yeah,
her
it's true.
veranda.
I don't know if they took it down yet, but yeah, it's true. Yep.
So I hope the Mercedes have bedrooms and kitchens and all those things to accommodate them when they get evicted.
I have another senior in Canarsie. Her tenants just bought herself a car, her son a car, and owes the homeowner 3 years. 3 years since
Lord.
when COVID started. And this woman is, because she didn't know, she hired like 3 different attorneys, and the case is just dragging. I feel my heart bleeds because there is nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. And this is a senior, someone that looks like me, and I can't help her. But yeah, this woman is
In a case
cruising.
like that, what can she do? This is Princess.
Well, she has an attorney. They had a couple of court dates, but for some reason, the tenant, she always has some excuse. She keep postponing it. It's just been dragged out. And I don't think the attorney is fighting for her. But that's just my opinion, and
And almost certain developers are calling her to buy her house.
Yep.
Along that.
Yep.
You know what? It's sad to say. I think some of these banks, these developers, and these attorneys all working together.
And
Sorry,
some of the
that's my whole
tenants.
take about it.
And some of the tenants.
Yes, and some of the tenants. But what they're forgetting, that maybe $5,000 or $10,000 they're gonna give them, it's not gonna last but a few months.
Yep. Yep. But I don't know how to get us in a better position where we're able to fight some of these people. And even how to educate our people so that we don't wait too late. But we're so busy fighting among each other.
landlord and tenant situation is going to change, and you know when it's going to change? When people like us no longer own homes and all of the people who own the home doesn't look like us. Then the law is going to change, and all these excuses and all this time they're getting, somebody's going to come up and say, no, it can't happen, and they're going to put a vote, and it become a vote, and they're going to go back into 3 months, and they're going to adopt a law like down south. But it's only going to happen when all of us who looks like us no longer own properties.
Well, this is Ethel. I think that one way to tackle it for the smaller homeowners, 8 units and less, I think that's the definition, that the banks be in their mortgage holders, their lenders be asked to let the city know that I know it sounds like an intrusion in a person's privacy, but let the city know that they are preparing a foreclosure proceeding. Let the court know, and then the court could let the appropriate government agency, government program know that this homeowner needs to be apprised of whatever programs there are to help that small homeowner. I don't think the same kind of help is needed for the larger landlords, 9 units and up. I don't know. It's one way to get to the folks, and maybe not to put too fine a point on it, only provide this notification service for BIPOC owners, Black and homeowners, Caribbean homeowners, and so on. One way to address that, because we're only looking for those people who will really, really suffer, who are really going to have a problem. Like you were saying, one owner is preparing to sell because the tenant has been a freeloader for so long that they can't figure out how to get out of the debt other than to sell the property.
Most banks, most banks just want their money. They really don't care about me about to lose my house. I think they just really want, where they're going to get their money from. That's the way I see it if I go to a bank like Chase, one of those banks. They're just interested in how they're going to get their money.
The larger banks are a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is
They
what
don't
One
work,
of
the
the things
larger
that
banks
is
don't work for us.
This is Princess. One of the things that are happening, they're selling your mortgage. A lot of mortgages are passing hand because I just received a letter that my mortgage was sold to someone else.
Yes, that's happening, yes.
So, yes.
Do you think the senior person could do something like a what you call it when a person can stay in the house and don't have to pay? What you call
You
that?
talking about the reverse mortgage?
Yeah, you think a person can do that before they lose their home?
Absolutely.
That's one way a senior can keep her property to do the reverse mortgage.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is age related. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be a senior in order to do that though.
Yeah, and then if that senior has descendants, family members who stand to inherit the property, they will be foreclosed from accessing that inheritance unless they can pay that back debt.
Well, they're gonna lose it anyway if the homeowner cannot pay it, they're gonna lose it anyway.
That's
There's
true.
one way of keeping it. So is the homeowner gonna lose it anyway to the bank or to whatever? That way she can, do the reverse mortgage and stay there until the Lord called her home. And it could be 15, 20, 30 years maybe. She'll still be in her property. I understand a lot
That's
of.
a good point. I hadn't thought about it that way, Francis. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, the thing about it, you have to be what? I think what, in your late 60s to get that program?
No, I think as long as you're 60, I think you're 66, 62, I think you can do that. I think
No, you have to be older than that.
older
Because
than
in my
62?
yeah, because my husband's family in the Bronx, they did that. And yeah, you had to be older. And
Okay.
then if the children want to, when you pass and the children want to take, a family want to take it back, or they have to pay off that money that was loaned to that person. And it can be sometimes at an alarming rate, because a lot of people were saying you better be very careful with this the reverse mortgages program. So if you're going to do it, make sure you look into it and make sure all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted.
Yeah, because some of the lenders are very, especially if they know you don't know, they take advantage.
Right.
It seems like that's what happened to the family on Park Place, Queen Afua and her family, that they changed the would-be lender, changed the loan to a deed, forged a signature, and it's just coming out lately that one of the grandchildren, the grandson, was in on it or something. I don't know what the heck is going on there.
Yeah, we kind of figured there was a little bit more to that story.
Is the family still there though, Miss Ethel?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe so.
Thanks to people like Sarah Lazar, who went and sat in on the stoop, and she and some of her colleagues, and helped prepare documents and so on. It's been a very, very interesting story. I'm sure it'll be on TV in a couple of years.
Don't doubt that. Definitely don't doubt that. Okay, so.
Well, I have to agree with Ms. Robinson that it's a shame that we can't seem to educate people on this end as to the fact that sometimes when you have difficulty, you have to admit that you have a problem so you can get the help that you need. But if you are so proud that you don't tell anybody, then you can't get any help.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of it has to do with the mistrust, but at this point in 2022, after COVID has beat us up, I think we need to kind of break that recording and really figure out how we're gonna be able to just survive and be successful and get certain things. I mean, we keep singing about we don't trust the system does this, but we're not doing anything to change that.
True enough.
We're so busy beating each other up, and it's frustrating.
Very true.
I think we've done so much, but it feels like we're just going backwards.
Don't lose hope. Don't lose
No,
hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
I have a
Just have
16-year soon to be. I have a soon to be 16-year-old, so I'm gonna be fighting until he no longer needs me to fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Never say die.
Yeah, but it is, like I said, it is discouraging
True.
that we are where we are still. And
Well, there are some plans afoot by dedicated agencies like Enterprise. I'm going to send a link to their latest notice about federal programs. If I can get the link to copy, I'll paste it into the chat. And you all may want to subscribe to their newsletters, Enterprise.
Are they a nonprofit, Ethel?
I believe so. I've been trying to forward it. I'm just going to forward the email to the housing group. Maybe that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
And you can pick and choose. They usually have 4 sections where they talk about programs that are coming up. And you can click onto the links to get a deeper understanding of the event that they talk about. So I'm just
Is
for
it all about housing?
yes, today in housing. It's from today. It's the Daily News. And the leading article is about the low income housing tax credit or Lifeline Act, and how they are trying to do a long-term loans to low-income housing tax credits developments. Does that sound familiar, Ms. Granville?
Yeah, so you talking about HDFCs?
Yes,
And the
yes. So
421As?
the stuff is out there. If you can make sure that your different boards know about it, boards of like Weeksville Housing, groups like that, they should be paying attention to the legislation that's being brought forth and writing and calling so that the proposed legislation is successful. Because the Republicans, they want to keep all the money to themselves. And they want to make sure that whatever their investments are, those are the investments that are flourishing. And
Yep.
they have many ways to do that. So,
Ethel, did you get something from the board today about free breakfast and discussion with Assembly Member Zinnemann?
no, I don't. I may have, but I've been so busy trying to put in an application for funding.
Okay, well, this came through to me at 12:20 p.m. earlier today, and I had not seen it until I got home.
Mhm.
And basically, she is inviting, I guess it went out to all of the board members. And she is going to discuss the NYCHA Public Housing Preservation Trust.
Okay.
We will have a light breakfast with refreshments, so please join us and share your comments, concerns, and questions. Please find additional details about the trust at the link below. And it's about that blueprint for change that they had proposed before,
Okay.
where they wanted to make the housing into what they're calling a preservation trust.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting.
And I hope that before tomorrow, or at least before Friday, our board members look at their email, because you have to confirm your attendance by Monday, May 16th.
Well, I
And this
didn't get it.
particular breakfast is on May 20th, which I believe is a Monday.
May 20th. No, that's a Friday.
The Friday, okay, well, May 20th
Friday.
is the breakfast, and it will start at 8:30 a.m. And I know if you're like me, you have a problem in the morning getting places on time. But I will tell you something. It is historical in this city for them to give things early, knowing that we won't be there.
Yeah. Yep. Hi.
And I
I'm
kid
here
you
for
not, because I shocked myself
the
once about
safety meeting,
going
the
to
town
City
hall.
Hall for something early. And damn if it wasn't at least 50 people there when I got there.
Well,
Oh,
breakfast helps. That's
Yeah,
true.
but I'll have my oatmeal before I leave home. But I'm just saying that because we miss when we're not there. A lot of things are said in person,
Mhm.
but if you're not there to hear it,
so
whose
sorry.
fault is that?
You miss it
Oh,
absolutely.
Ms. Granville, have you anyone seen the article where there's a apartment building in the Bronx they're working with tenant to buy it for
Yes, it was
200
in the
and
New York Times Sunday.
yeah. Somebody sent it to my email. I got an alert, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, so they're working, and I think they're gonna live like for a year for free while they're getting it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw it today. I did not really read, I think that's a good start.
I think so.
I saw it on YouTube, and it's on YouTube.
Somebody send the article to my phone.
Okay, I'm here.
I'll tell you guys quite frankly, if it wasn't for the last chairperson of Community Board 8 and the chairperson of housing that they had years ago, the building
Hi
that I'm
guys.
in
So
now.
guys, I'm here, so I'm gonna have to log off now.
Okay.
Keep you posted. Alrighty.
Bye.
Hi guys. Hi. So I live right on Pacific, so this is my neighborhood.
Okay.
Other people to come. They, because they weren't given an option to do this Zoom. You think so?
So how
Huh?
many people are there?
I'm still there.
No, I'm asking
Hold on,
Miss
hold on.
Robinson,
Well, I'm
is the
actually
place
outside.
full?
I'm actually talking to the council member. I'm outside. I haven't gone in yet. I think it's like about 7 people
Okay.
so far.
How many?
Or 7. Hold on a second. No correction. 4.
Okay.
But hold on. Let me see if I can switch the camera. Can I switch it?
I hope that they set their targets on some federal money.
So
That's
you
where
have
the big
so
bucks
all the
are.
city agencies are here, unfortunately.
They
But we
should be
only
looking,
got 4 people from the community. That's terrible. You
they
have
should,
every one of the city agencies breakfast here.
they should be looking for federal money. Since New York is such a blue state, that's going to be hard to do, but that's where the big money is. Federal government.
Robinson, there's not a lot of people there.
4.
So I think if that's the case, when I get on this bus, I may end up coming over there then if it's not crowded.
No, it's very full, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 reps from organizations.
Well, that's
So
good.
the reps are outnumbering the people at this time.
Yes.
Well, at least they can pull
Yes.
together a cohesive plan if they're all together in the same room at the same time,
Cool.
hopefully. Well, I've been
So
at this.
ladies, I'm gonna check out right now, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay, thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Sorry.
Ms. Granville, please excuse me. I'm going to go and pick up on some things that I have been delaying all day, working on grant applications, 2 different channels of funding.
Miss Dias,
Yes.
Miss James, I need to, I'm gonna touch base with you tomorrow about something.
Okay, I'm facing a deadline here, so I hope
Okay,
I'll be able to help.
No, okay,
All right, I'll look to hear from you. Ms. Granville,
okay,
please
good.
excuse me.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I see someone, I think Frenchie is this a he or a she? The hand is
Yeah,
up.
that's me, Miss George. Can you
Hi,
hear me? Hello, how's everyone doing this evening?
good, and yourself?
I'm doing okay. I wanted you to finish what you were saying. You stated that the reason why you were able to get into your building was because of the last leadership that was in place. I wanted you to finish your comment that you were making.
Yes, to make a long story short, the building was in 7A administration when my mother and I moved in. They had been 3 separate boilers at one point. We ended up with only 1 boiler. And when they put it under 7A administration, sometimes the HBD paid for the oil because there wasn't enough rent roll to pay for it. Plus, we only had the 1 boiler for 3 buildings. When Mr. Matthews, who was the chair, came out with the chair of housing at that time, we made it very serious we made a very serious impression on them that we wanted to become owners. And they put us in touch with the right people in the HPD, and we went through the process. We had to form 3 separate tenant associations. We had to show that enough rent was being collected to pay for the basic expenses of the building. And each association had its own bank account. And from there, the city council person who was in charge at that time, Tish James, scheduled us for renovation. They moved us out temporarily, and I think within 15 months, we were able to come back. And I have neighbors who say the community board didn't do anything. If it wasn't for the community board, we would have been the 24 families that used to live on Park Place between Nostrand and New York.
Thank you for that. I had wanted you to
Now, my
share that.
mother was a nurse, and she had worked all her life, and when she saw these apartments, she saw the possibilities. I didn't see them because my face fell because there was plastic in the windows and what have you. At one point, we didn't have mailboxes downstairs. We didn't have a door that locked. And she had been told that there was a program that would allow you to become owners of your building, but my mother was not involved in community affairs. She went to work, she paid her taxes, she came home. So she didn't know anything about that. She lived in Park Slope, and by the time she got serious about buying something there, she'd been priced out of the market.
Mm-hmm.
So even though my apartment at this time is not as fixed up as I want it to be, I realize how blessed I am because I'm living my mother's dream.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if it's anything available now, due to I remember I had shared with you that I am still looking and I would like to have ownership. And I looked into various programs in which they have, which the programs can be very discouraging. And it seemed like they're really not trying to, I don't want to say not trying to assist, but everyone said that they're going to help you, but they're really not. And my credit score is pretty high. Um, I had applied for one program, but I haven't heard back from them. It was condos, and the condos are located. It's right here in Brooklyn. It's not far from Court Street. Um, but they haven't notified me yet. But
Okay.
my question is, when you apply even for Housing Connect, and I'm not a community board member, but when it stayed on there, I looked at everything. It says 50% community board member. Are they talking about community board member in community board number 8, or they're talking about you can be a community board member, period, if that makes sense?
Well, I think it shouldn't be the community board. It should be the resident of that particular community.
Okay.
Because see, the community boards can only have up to 50 people. So imagine how many people would be left out if they only were talking about community board people, community board members being considered as residents.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to see that in certain cases, they still have a preference for people of that particular community board because some of these ads no longer say that. But I think it depends also on who is providing the funding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my suggestion to you would be to look under UHAB and see if there's any possibilities for the types of apartments we were just talking about. And I would also look under Mitchell-Lama, because I happen to see here lately in the free newspapers, the ones that you don't have to pay for, every now and then they actually mention Mitchell-Lama housing.
Is there any way you could send me that information, Ms. Georges, or email it to me, or put it in?
Can you put your email in the chat and I'll send it to you?
Okay.
Okay, I'll see your information and I'll make sure that I write it down.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And I will try to also make sure that I speak to a friend of mine who's in a building that was done, renovated before mine was, that's in Community Board 8, and see if there's any openings in his building.
Okay, that would be perfect. Yeah, that would be. I would appreciate that.
Well, you all got very quiet all of a sudden.
You talking about?
Hmm?
What were you talking about?
You just came on?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I thought you may have been at the meeting at Wheatsville.
No, I just went over here on Washington Avenue, one of the new buildings that they put up. They have the penthouse showing today. The price is amazing, 3,500,000.
Oh, on Washington, the Eastern Parkway?
Near Eastern Parkway, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up to, they sent me an invite, so I went to look at it. Very interesting. I mean, the view is amazing. You could see
I can
everything.
imagine.
But the price, it just shows the change in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really, really interesting. They even looked at me weird when I walked in.
Well, I'm happy that nobody asked you what were you doing there, because you told me before you had gone to something, and the people
Right.
ask you how did you get there and why were you there?
Right. Right. But the changes in the neighborhood are interesting. And we really have to pay attention because with the changes that are going to happen on Atlantic Avenue, and I think I sent another one the other day. I was talking with Sarah about another one that I saw. And over on Pacific Street
Mm-hmm.
near Classen,
Mm-hmm.
I saw a submission of zoning change. So they're doing the individual zonings, and this is what's going on. So, I mean, there's so much of that, I just don't even know what to say anymore. There's loads
Well,
of that going on.
part of the reason why the M Crown subcommittee was formed was because people were coming to us about that particular area.
Mm-hmm.
And what we were trying to do was to make sure that the area was dealt with as a whole instead of having all of these separate applications that popped up.
Mm-hmm.
That was the general plan.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it's not. And then I think the thing that bothers me is that I could be wrong, but I think politicians come and meet with us and say something. And then when they actually agree to something, there's a different story. And I think that's what I'm very mindful of,
Yes.
because to me, it just makes me wonder what is going on in the background. So that's what bothers me a lot.
Yes. It make you feel like they are not on your side, even though they say one thing, but when they leave the meeting, they do something else. They are not 100% on our side.
Right. And I think it needs to be clear. What are you doing? Please be honest with us. Let us know what you're really doing. Don't tell us one thing and then make something in another deal. And I
Yes.
think we need to stand up for that. So I just shared in the chat what I found out about the Atlantic Avenue deal because I get those emailed to me. And then there's another thing I saw about Pacific Street, about Pacific or Dean. It's one of those. It was in the patch. You guys may have seen it. Do you guys get subscribed to the patch?
No, I don't.
No, I don't either.
Okay, let me
Yes. No.
let me see how I could get you that information because I shared it with Sarah. And I mean, it's like I keep going to myself, okay, so who is communicating with us properly? And I think that's the most important thing we have to find out. You know? Okay, here it is. Yet another apartment tower proposed in North Crown Heights, Prospect Heights. Let me see if I can find the link for that. Yeah. Developers are looking to rezone an empty Pacific Street lot for a 9-story building, the latest in a flurry of new complexes in the area. So I'm going to share this one with you guys as well.
I know the area real good, what you're talking about. There is an empty lot on Pacific between Bedford and Franklin.
Yeah, it's not that one. This one is right here between Grand and Claxton, if I'm not. Yes. It's 962 Pacific Street near Grand Avenue.
Okay, yes, okay.
That
Is
one.
this where they have the old cars and stuff? Oh,
I think so.
okay.
Into a 9-story building with 150 residential units, a portion of which would be designated as affordable under the mandatory inclusionary housing program. The proposal was submitted last year. Yep. So they said neighbors have been pushing city planners for years to come up with a comprehensive plan for the area, giving rampant displacement and an influx of new residents to the neighborhood.
And you said 962 Pacific
Yeah.
between Classen and Grand?
Yeah, I think it's Classen and Grand.
Okay.
Ms. Granville, can I share something of a differentiation? But okay, I was standing at the subway on Second Avenue, waiting for the F train. And guess what is on the billboard?
What?
All the best restaurants in Crown Heights.
Yep.
This is on
Really?
MTA billboard. The best restaurants in Crown Heights.
Okay.
And this is on Second Avenue and the F line.
Okay.
And not a whole lot of us live on that line.
Right. So this is why I keep saying last night.
I saw it yesterday.
This has been
And I was
happening.
flabbergasted.
Yes, if you look at the links, sis, you're gonna see that links thing. It comes up on there too, all over. And this is why yesterday we had economic development meeting, and I'm saying, Celine was saying that Nostrand Avenue, they don't have any of the big stores. And I said, be grateful that you don't have any of the big stores. Because the minute one comes in, it means all you small businesses are going to be wiped out.
That's true.
Okay, so we have to understand when you see certain things, pay attention.
But the funny thing about it, remember the young man from development, how he was boasting about Lewis Avenue and all what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And and we are asking for that on Nostrand. But we are not stopping and think like every action have a reaction and every behavior have consequences. And when the behavior that we ask them for, when they bring the consequences, we are complaining. So we cannot have it both ways, because if we ask for certain things and they give it to us, remember, they're not doing it for us. It's not in preparation for us, because we have been here and nothing was done of that sort.
Okay, one of the things this is why I kind of get really, sometimes I think we have got to understand that we have got to take charge of our own lives. If you keep waiting for other people to do it, it's different. So my whole thing is, if 10 businesses on a block decide we're going to have an afternoon, a family afternoon, do it. Instead, everybody wants somebody to come give them something. When they come, they don't. Nothing in this life is free. Let's be honest. So if you want to have something and you're waiting for somebody to give it to you for free, there's a repercussion on the other side. And that's something we really have to understand. It's real. Very, very real. So we have to start learning how to come together and do what we want to do. Because a gift horse is always going to be a gift horse. If we could sweep our streets and keep it clean, sweep your streets and keep it clean. Because I see my brother lives over in Old Mill Basin. They sweep the side of their street wherever they are in front of us. What's wrong with us doing it in our neighborhoods to ease up the street cleaning, sanitation, moving and moving? That's what we have to do to get sanitation away, to get that street cleaning out. It's just taking responsibility for ourselves. It's just that aspect we have to do. And I think that's what gets us in the backlog. Oh, we should be given. Okay, yeah, you should be given, but they don't come and give you anything for free. That's just how I see it. You have to be willing to make the sacrifice and do for yourself. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, a little bit. At least that's how I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but because when you look at the politics of the whole thing, they gain a lot from being in the positions they are and the people that they meet. And the people they engage with and the deals that they make, they gain from it. So we've got to get to the point where we start saying, I'm going to help myself more. If we have to sell lemonade and cookies, we'll do it. We should be able to understand where that sacrifice leads you long term, not short term, long term. Because that's the biggest thing. Because I just stood up here and there and listened to everybody talk about how beautiful the view is, how yes, in Eastern Parkway, and you're right there from the museum, and you're right, and this is great, and this is beautiful. And didn't we know that about our neighborhood before?
Yes.
Okay. I always feel, don't let somebody come and tell you how your spot is. And then you begin to realize it. Your spot has always been your spot.
Yes.
Take care of it.
That's why they try to take our property, because I live on Albany in a private house. So I swept in front of my house, and even outside on the way the cars parked. And someone came early, very early the next morning, like 8:30, and gave me a ticket. Why? because someone had dropped a straw in front of my house. Now the whole block, I the only one got a ticket for, as I know. Because
Right.
someone had left a straw in front of my door, even though I swept.
Right.
But that's the way it goes.
Right. And you have to speak up. Because stuff like what you just told me, I would have taken a picture, taken it, mailed.
I did.
Yeah, go and fight that ticket, don't
I
pay.
did. Oh yeah, I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it. I don't call a couple of times, so they gotta call me back. But oh yeah, I'm fighting it. Because if I sweep the night before and somebody put a straw in front of the door, it's not my straw. And the wind probably blew it down there.
Right.
Did they give you a complaint number?
Yes, I have it.
Did you give it to the board office?
No, I'm fighting it myself. I'm calling
But
them.
no, but even though you're gonna fight it yourself, you give it to the board office. That's what they're employed to do. Let them know about it and give them the ticket number so they can follow up.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Ms. George meets with the representatives of the agencies.
Okay, okay. That's news. I didn't know that because I've been calling and calling. They've been calling me back because they're not doing any meeting in person. You have to be online or by phone.
Remember we talked about that like 2 months ago? And Ms. Robinson was saying that the elected officials have the intergovernmental people working in their offices. And you call the board office, but the same gentleman that they're meeting with this evening, the what's his name, Shay Osei?
Yeah.
You should be able to call his office and let him know about it also and give him the complaint number as well.
Okay, okay, I'll do that.
Because if not, we're paying all these people money and they're getting paid to do nothing if we don't present them with problems.
Right. And I think this is what we have to do. Don't be afraid to stand up to the officials, to stand up to these people that we elect in office. Remember, we elected them to work for us. It's not the other way around. And I think that's what sometimes we don't understand.
Yes, and we don't think about it. I didn't really think about them. I'm just gonna keep calling and fighting.
But trust me, in other neighborhoods, when people have elected folks and they have a problem, everybody and their mother knows they got a problem.
Yes. Absolutely right.
Because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And what is it they say? A shut mouth does not get fed.
Right. Closed mouth doesn't get fed. And this is why I said even the street cleaning, if we cleaned up, and let's say, because, we can have one day a week. If we cleaned up after ourselves, and stuff like that, listen, it's your neighborhood. You live here. You're good. And I think sanitation needs to be brought in and spoken to about it too, because I think it's a waste. Because I go through so many neighborhoods and I see the difference. So we really have to work on that. I refuse to accept. I was told by somebody at the EST that how it's because of density. I was like, nah, there's density everywhere in Brooklyn. So we need to bring sanitation in and say, what is it exactly that we need to qualify to get less street cleaning? Things like that we need to approach. I'm calling I know I'm going to be in touch with sanitation in a couple of days. I'm calling them myself because I need to find this out. We need to just be as proactive as we can in our areas. Because there's housing available at Vanderbilt. They just announced it. There's a lottery, Vanderbilt and somewhere, but the prices are high for the average person working. That's not a lottery for somebody making $45,000 a year. That's a lottery for somebody making 90,000, 150 grand. You understand? And that's how you get pushed out. So I think it really needs people really need, because now they're, I think there was a vote or whatever because they're redoing the 421A, which was a gift horse to the developers.
What's the 421A?
The 421A is what the developers get. There's a tax exemption where they really don't pay taxes when they put those buildings up. And
Okay.
for years they don't pay taxes.
It's a 30-year tax break.
30
correct?
years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And what pissed me off when I was the chairperson of land use
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that they were scheduled, one or two groups were scheduled to come before the committee.
Right.
And when they didn't show up and we called to find out why, they said, oh, well, we don't have to come. They weren't required to come to the community board. And as long as their paperwork was in order, HPD approved it. So they
Yes.
got a 30-year tax break, and there was no accountability with the neighborhood at all. There was nothing, no requirement that they show that
Right.
anything was actually affordable.
Absolutely. And I saw the other day, I think the city council was going to vote on it again. 421 tax abatement. I saw something about the city council voting on it. Well, they're actually in the New York Times. Recently there was something, a lucrative tax break, will ending a lucrative tax break ease or fuel the housing crisis. So there was a whole discussion about it. And I know the last thing I saw was the city council talking about voting something. I just put the link to the article in the chat. So I don't know. When the citizens don't speak up, they say, okay, you know Diana Richardson, who is now the deputy borough
Borough
president?
president.
Yes.
I used to go to her meetings on Saturdays when she had it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I loved about her is the way she brought everything to you. And she told you exactly how things ran. But I felt those meetings weren't well attended. When I asked one day, I said, why didn't we know this? She said, because nobody wants you to know. And then she explained, let's say in Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, there are 8,000 people. When it comes out to vote about something,
Mm-hmm.
3,000 people come out to vote.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Prospect in Park Slope, 8,000 people, 6,000 come out to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then if things don't go their way, they bombard that politician. They go and they hold placards in front of his office. They sit down in front of his office. They make a noise. And he is going crazy saying, listen, we got to do something about this because these people are not letting me be. Meanwhile, on our side of the fence, we're like, well, I never bothered me head about that. Our politicians are saying, nobody's bothering me. Go ahead and put that in place. Okay? That's how we hurt ourselves.
That's true.
So that's part of the issue we're facing.
Miss Gray, you was on the meeting last night?
Yeah.
What were they speaking about on Tompkins Avenue? They were seemed so happy that somebody had did something on Tompkins Avenue.
They were doing, I think it's the Bridge Street development. They're gonna do like a kind of an open street just for one day. And the same thing that they're doing on Lewis. And they're also trying to do on Atlantic Avenue.
Open street on Atlantic Avenue? You mean close the
Not
street on
Atlantic Avenue. Nostrand from Atlantic to, I can't remember to where they're doing it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
one day.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we have to stand up. This is why I said, stop waiting for favors. We have to work on our own issue, and they know that we're always waiting for a favor. They know this so well. So we have to really, really work on this. I don't have the patience. So I ask questions. We really, really have to do that.
Miss Granville,
Yes.
I'm at Twigsville.
Okay.
Oh, yes. After Miss Robinson said it's not crowded, I find myself all the way from Church Avenue area to here.
Okay now.
So is it crowded or you didn't go inside yet?
I'm going in, I'm walking.
What is going on there today?
The council person is having the different agencies come to him today. And Miss Robinson was on with us, but she drove over there because she lives in the neighborhood. So she said she could not miss it. And she's going to see if it's very crowded.
Hmm.
And they did not have a Zoom option for the meeting.
But how were we informed of this before?
We were, I believe he spoke about it. If he didn't speak about it,
TOC?
we would send something
Yeah.
about it.
Thank you. Good
And
evening.
why couldn't we have a Zoom option?
I really do not know because I'll be honest with you, I did not think to call to find out why there wasn't a Zoom option. Because Crown Heights North did the same thing 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had a 20th anniversary meeting with their town hall, and we didn't have a Zoom option with that either.
Hi, how are you? I'm in here.
How
Thank
many
you.
people?
I'm gonna tell you in a few.
Okay.
I'm walking in. They have a lot of food.
And if they don't get too many people, they'll still have a lot of food.
It's not a lot of people. Good evening. Hi, good evening.
I put in the chat to a link to a discussion about.
Listen to me. I'm gonna put you guys. You guys what? Hello.
Yes, we're.
Yeah. What were you
Okay.
saying, Princess?
It's not crowded. There's
That's
not a lot
okay.
of people.
And they started at 7, so it's been almost 45 minutes since they started.
Yeah, yeah. Not a
It's
lot of
how
people.
you disseminate information to the environment, to the people, to the community.
You know what I
People are
call
coming.
it? I call it the illusion of inclusion. Some people do just enough to be able to say, oh, we told somebody, yeah, but who did you tell and when did you tell them?
Mailers should have been sent out.
Guess what? I'm gonna pick up some information. So talk to you guys later.
Okay, no
All
problem.
right, Princess. I'm glad you made it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, I put another article in there where Brad Lauder is talking about it. The 421A, and he says, can NYC live without the 1.7 billion a year developer tax break? There's a whole discussion there in city and state that he talked about. And
He's the new controller, correct?
yes, Hochul wants to keep it with a few tweaks because a lot of those people are her contributors. I'm just being direct and honest. Okay? And that's where that is right now. It expires this summer, so let's see what happens. But those are articles there to keep you guys up to date on some of the things that are going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because we have to start being on point. We have to start being a lot more militant and stand up. And questioning authority. You're allowed to question authority. I don't care what senator you are, I'm going to question you. I don't care what congressperson you are, I'm going to question you. We have to do that. The same way I questioned Kevin Parker the other day with that whole thing that he wanted to put whole of Brooklyn a cease and desist zone, and he realized, I emailed him directly. I was like, listen to me carefully. What the hell are you doing? Have you talked to anybody? Have you spoken to the boards? Not a peep out of him. And that's how we got a chance to get on and speak up in Albany. There's more stuff because there was just something at Albany this weekend. I didn't get the chance to go, and I couldn't even get on the Zooms. So one of my colleagues who went, she's going to call me and bring me up to date on it. There's so much stuff that goes on.
And technically, if it was a public meeting and they had it on Zoom, there should have been a mechanism where you could get a copy of the recording if you asked for one.
I agree with you. I'm with you where that is concerned. And this is why I said when they come back on in any group we're in, we have to start asking them for stuff like that. You understand? We have to say to them, okay, why aren't we allowed to get copies of this? Why wasn't there a Zoom? You know we're supposed to have that. You're gonna see changes in people's attitudes totally. Some people in your own group might think you're being pissy. I don't care. If you don't ask for what you want, you ain't getting it. Steve Harvey tells you that all the time.
Well, I have to say that when we have meetings, we are not allowed to keep the recordings to our chest. So why should anybody else do that? If it's a public meeting and you know that people can no longer meet in person as they could 3 years ago, why shouldn't it be available if you ask for it?
Right, I agree.
What people do to you, like you said, basically what you said in so many words, folks do you what you let them do.
Yay!
So if you let them get away with it, then hey, I would collect 6 figures salary and go home and sleep real nice too. If nobody troubled me to do anything, I could paint my nails and look at magazines all day.
Right. I'm with you. That's why I always ask, if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't make sense to me. Can you explain that? And we have to start doing that. And this is why even what meeting we had the other Monday night's meeting? What was Monday? I think that was to do the economic meeting or the one to do with something, and I started asking questions.
Meeting?
I think it was the police meeting. When I
Or
started
public
saying
police or public safety?
No, it was the precinct meeting.
I think it was
okay.
Monday night, yes.
Because I had discussed this with a number of other people about turning guns in. Why are you going to offer people things like an iPad? That's what you buy for 5-year-old kids. $200 for what? I mean, Lafayette Church is trying to do their best. They're having this gun thing, turn in your guns, and they give you an iPad or $200 gift card. No. If you really want the guns off the street, you have to have a strategic plan. And I noticed everybody was avoiding me. You might hate the bail situation, but tweak it, work to tweak it to get it better. while you're working at the same time to get the guns off the street. It needs to be worked on. And I don't think they're going to get it until some people's relatives get hurt. Because I mentor kids besides that when I get a chance, because I talk to them and I listen to a lot of things that they tell me. And I'm going like, okay. I talk to my nephews. Gang recruitment starts in high school, starts in school. They tell me about people coming to fight you just because you don't want to pay attention to them. So we have to have interventions in various places. And we have to offer some of these kids who are not going to go on to higher education in terms of college to pursue higher education in a different way. They need to be able to get skills. So if they're not working out in school, get them into trade schools, vocational schools. The whole system needs to work with it. Instead, they're making money off the jails. That's what I see. So it's the same thing. We have to stand up. We have to put ourselves forward and go like, listen, we're tired of this nonsense. All this mush mush run around talk, you trying to talk circles around me isn't working. This is the real story. That's it. I don't see it as being impossible. I see it as being something very workable. But we have to be prepared to stand up for it. And we have to be prepared to use your mind. Think for yourself. Don't everything the politicians tell you sometimes go like, but that don't make no sense. We have to start using our minds independently. It's not Republican or Democrat. It's reality. I saw somebody said yesterday how inflation, if the Republicans were in, it wouldn't have happened. I was like, okay, hold on. Inflation is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. The greed that we're having people go from $2,000 to $4,000 with a renewal of a lease is not a Republican or a Democratic problem. It's a human greed problem that is allowed to persist. Can we get something to help people out? Because otherwise we're gonna have, listen, this homeless population will increase so much. Like if we don't have enough already, let me tell you. Instead, what they're doing, they're creating all these programs for people. But a lot of landlords don't want it. I'm just being straight up honest. Because it's hard when people are giving you a hard time to get them out when they're on these programs. I go to the houses with the landlords. The place is a mess. But it's Section 8. And Section 8 is withdrawn, but they still can't get the people out. Do you know how hard that is on a landlord? They're going to lose the house. That's why I keep saying Section 8 and those programs are not for houses. They're for apartment buildings. So if a landlord has a 50-unit apartment building, he could say, okay, I'm going to do 10% or 15% of the units for programs. And the rest is going to be, whatever. Because guess what? If they don't pay, at least he's getting offset by the other people. But when you have a 1 or 2 family house, you're looking for real trouble. Those are things that are reality. There was this woman who was running for office. She's a nurse. And what they called me during COVID, to get them to see how can you be behind us. I was like, And the whole thing was about not paying rent. I was like, how is the owner paying gas? How is the owner keeping a roof over? How is the owner taking care of this building? She was like, but they can. I was like, no, no. The person going to work every day and having a 2-family or a 3-family house. I was like, do you own a house? She's like, no. I was like, until you have that experience, please do not call me with that. They called me like 4 times. I was like, no, I can't work with you like that. You're hurting people. You're strangling people. Those are things that I believe that a lot of our officials don't get. And there has to be a real stand up of the people to speak up. There are not. Do you realize that like I just did some work with an Australian company. They bought Brownstone over on Lincoln Place. They bought in Park Slope. They bought in Williamsburg. They bought in Bed-Stuy, Fort Greene. They bought in Harlem. And they renovated these places like Architectural Digest. You know what the rents are? $10,000 a month, $17,000 a month. You hear me? Okay.
And they have people that are able to pay that type of rent?
Not me and you. And the thing about it, most of these, I think these are companies that are maybe paying it. But this is all, but what I'm saying, it's all foreign money coming in.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And this is exactly what is going on. I was like, I mean, I had to do evaluations on the whole buildings, get them values and all of that. But I was like, my goodness, $10,000 a month rent is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So right away, what does that do? Screen you out.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Drivers Road, they had on 142nd, 41st.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was just for 2 weeks totally. I was between all these places, and I kept going to myself, "This is crazy." Right next door to you, you don't realize what's going
That's
on.
true. Yes.
Okay. It's a real movement. People don't realize that. The pictures would blow your mind. I'm talking about floors of things that make you just stand back and go, wow. The roof decks, crazy. You didn't think brownstones could have roof decks like that. We have to get to the point where we stop evaluating, oh, they're coming into our neighborhood, it must be good. We have to stop and realize we are good. Not because they come into our neighborhoods. We are good. And we have to start keeping our places together, cleaning up.
Do you ever go to the meetings for Crown Heights North?
Yeah, I go on and listen sometimes.
A few years ago, they had asked me to speak at one of those town halls. And I had to let folks know that some of the people that they probably no longer speak to since they come in,
Mhm.
are the people that have made the neighborhood the desirable place that it is.
Mhm.
The folks who didn't play to a camera and didn't play to a TV, they just did what had to be done.
Mhm.
And my point was that communities are made.
Yes.
People worked on it and sacrificed. I had members when I joined the board who could have been home watching TV at 6 o'clock.
Right.
But they were out with the various committees, with the meetings and what have you. And they're the reason why all of these people want to crowd into Crown Heights, because if those folks hadn't done what they did, folks wouldn't
Mhm.
want to live here.
I agree. On my block was the same thing. It was pit bulls, gunshots, dead people, drugs. It was work. So there are a lot of things. I have neighbors now, new neighbors who don't say morning, afternoon, nothing. Same behavior.
Well, when I said what I said, there were some folks that twisted in the seats a little bit. And if
Mhm.
there hadn't been carpet on the floor, I might have heard the feet shuffling.
Mhm.
But that's how I saw it.
Mhm.
And like I said, I admired the people who were on the board when I came on, because
Mhm.
these folks worked and they worked hard, and they weren't doing it to be recognized by a camera or anything like that. They did it because they loved the community and they weren't going anyplace else. It wasn't like they had 3 houses and 9 months out of the year they weren't going to be here. It wasn't like that.
Well, we have to understand a number of things with generational wealth. Like, so I had to go up to that building, 635 West 42nd Street, just on the West Side Highway. That building has a lot of issues from the time it's been developed. So the attorney got on the phone with me and we were talking. And she is Asian. And, she was talking, she was saying to me, all this money that we see came in right after COVID. It's foreign money,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but she also indicated to me that she has parents, like some parents right now who are looking, foreign parents. Their kids have come to go to school here and they're looking to buy places for, they can go up to $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us can't afford that.
Nope.
Okay.
And those are the ones who can afford to pay for those very expensive visas to get here and stay here.
Yep. 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 So, I mean, I get a chance to see some things in so many ways, and it makes my mind real. So it's wild. But we have to collaborate with each other much more, work closely with each other, and stop telling our business on the street too. Because they know how to connive about things. I'm just being honest. They'll come, oh, let me see what your house looks like. And they will bug you for the next 5 years to sell it to them. Okay? They'll do everything to get you out. Stop telling. Stop show and tell. Show and tell has gotten us in so much trouble.
I'm smiling at you because I'm not a show and tell type person.
Mm-hmm. It's just become ridiculous. I try to tell people all the time, stop boasting.
But
I just shared an article where, people buy, I'm not knocking anybody, the 12, 15, $20,000 pocketbooks. Well, the well-to-do women are buying the fakes.
Mm-hmm.
They have a whole trade going on with the fakes.
Mm-hmm.
I read it and I fell out laughing because I knew this for a long time. Because while in college, I had friends who worked for various outlets, and they would say, "Come, let me show you something," and they would show us a different name that you think is a different company, but it's the same company, and they do different names in shoes and whatever. So we knew this, and then I had someone else who showed me how the manufacturing works. He took me through everything because he said, because I like your energy. And he showed me that. He says, and I want you to understand you're not to buy anything full price anymore. So I knew this and I tried to educate a couple of people I know. And I heard they told me off. They had to wear everything, Giuseppe, whoever, whatever, buy it for $5,000, $3,000 shoes, whatever. When I read this article the other day, I fell out laughing because I was like, oh, this is too funny. I shared it with other people and they were like, what? I was like, see, I kept trying to tell you guys this. You see how they make it as a business now, selling it out of their houses in Manhattan? Okay. Those kinds of things, we need to just shut up.
Isn't it funny how much money we spend sometimes to try to impress folks and they don't really give a damn?
Right.
And if I paid that much for a bag, I wouldn't have anything to put in it.
Well, this is what I usually say. I said, if I'm buying the bag, then I need to have 3 times as much money to put in the bag without fear all the time.
And if you have to be afraid to carry something, why buy it in the first place? My husband used to look at me and say, well, if you weren't going to use it, it could have stayed in the store.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember being in Chinatown a few years ago and I got a bag. Like one of the fabulous ones. And I had to go to court for a building on Madison Street. And the assistant DA saw me and she kept looking at me. She said, your bag. And inside my head, I'm laughing. I did like everybody else and went to Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
But she thought it was real. It was so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So I see Frenchie has their hand up.
Yes, you guys are talking about bags, and I'm a male. I don't have any idea as far as what you're talking about right now. I'm just wanted to lead it right back to housing.
Yeah, you can lead it right, but I think why I brought that
Okay,
up
go ahead.
Yeah, I
is
wanted to because we're
ahead.
getting off the topic, and I wanted to
Yes,
stay.
and thank you so much for bringing
Thank
us
you for
back.
bringing it back.
Yeah, let's kind of will it back. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
my focus right now is, housing, and my concern is, and this is the main reason why I wanted to be a part of the housing advocacy committee, is because I noticed that when you're signing, and myself, my credit score is very high. I always, take pride in my score because my highest score is 825 for Experian.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a problem with as far as my credit.
Mm-hmm.
I work for ACS, so I make a nice amount.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, affordability. When they talk about affordable, um,
Mm-hmm.
the places are going for, like she stated, she saw a place today off Eastern Parkway, whereas though I live off of Dean, these places are going for over $2-3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful brownstones, but they're the rate in which they're going for are very expensive. So the people who are moving in, like my neighbor, are producers, people who are coming here from California, coming here from different places,
Yep.
and they're buying up this property. And a lot of times, what they do is they'll buy this property and then they'll sell it to people in which they know that are in their circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a Russian, he just bought another property down the street from here, which is a brownstone.
Mm-hmm.
And but my thing is, I would love to purchase, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
not in my financial bracket to purchase something like that. So therefore, that's why a lot of people are leaving and they're going to Jersey and Connecticut. A lot of my coworkers are seeing condos that are in
Mm-hmm.
that are much cheaper. One of my coworkers just bought one there, and she spent like $300,000 for it. She said it's a
Mm-hmm.
three bedroom condo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a lot of people are, what they're doing is they're leaving out of the state of New York and they're going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a desire to leave. I've been here, 10 years. Um, I enjoy it here. There are some things that can be improved, whereas though the streets, the infestation of rats that I see now. So there are a lot of things that can be improved, but I do like the area in which I live and I don't want to leave. I did see, and that's why I wanted to stay on the topic as hand. I did see the place on Housing Connect for Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that, and I noticed that they do have a building coming up. But places
Mm-hmm.
like that, they're not going to call us. Let's just be honest.
Okay.
They're not going to call.
So, as a realtor, I'm going to say this to you. Their options right now, a lot of it is in court, and it's really hurting a lot of things.
Hmm.
Since COVID, um, you have to look at things like foreclosures. You have to look at things like short sales. Um, and you have to be willing to do some work to renovate it. Um, it's that kind of game that you're going to have to play right now. Right now, they're not on the market because a lot of these things are tied up in court with COVID. Um, so that's part of the issue why you're not saying that. Because all of us who deal with properties of that nature, we're all in the same condition. Inventory right now in general on the market is low.
I
And
could
that
actually
those
kick
properties are
myself.
very low.
I hear what you're saying. I could actually kick myself
Hmm.
because when they were telling people to take the loans out for homes and everything, and you were at like a 2 point, I think it was like a 2.0, it was before COVID.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was moving out, selling their homes and everything. I got
Hmm.
approved. I think my lowest, it was like a 2 point something that I went to Chase, got approved for. The lady said I could move into 300, no, 400 some $1,000 home. She said I could move into it. And I said, you know what? I should get something just to get it and probably rent it out. I can kick myself. I really can because I could have purchased something really nice in New Jersey.
Okay, so I'm gonna see how I can work with you. Your email address is upload. Is that upload one?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna keep that address. And if I see anything being shut out, um, I'm gonna touch base with you and let you know. I'm gonna add you to my address book now.
Okay.
Because that's how it's gonna work. That's how it really works, actually. I mean, this is how people get things. What do you want exactly? What do you pre-approve for? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, I can share all of that with you offline.
Okay, so you're gonna let me know all that. I'm gonna send you my email address, and then you can talk like that. I mean, it's hard in the sense where right now the state of the economy, not much available.
No, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
especially here in New York.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
And
happening in Florida too, because my colleagues in Florida are talking about it. And I saw an article today where Floridians are getting pissed because they said New Yorkers are coming and running the rented house prices up.
no, yeah, I was getting ready to correct you because my family, we were getting ready to purchase a home in Florida. actually in Fort Lauderdale,
Mm-hmm.
just to go to in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a 6 bedroom, beautiful
Mm-hmm.
home. And and it's no more than I think it's what, like 350?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
And 350, you can't get anything like that here.
No, it's
No,
not.
not even a closet.
Thank you. I was getting ready to, yeah, thank you. Not even a clue.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, it sounds like you two. It sounds like you made quite the connection.
Yeah, I try to help people. I work a lot with investors, honestly,
Hmm.
because they're willing to do the work to fix some of these places up, But when I hear someone like what he's telling you now, like what he's saying to us,
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem helping, if I see something and say, go there, go, 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 go. Because I think that's the only way we can help each other.
Hmm. You were saying something else in regards, and I wanted to ask you to, highlight that. I know it's getting late.
Mm-hmm.
But you had made a comment in regards to vocational programs.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying? Because I wanted to correct you on something. You were saying that there are not enough programs, or there are too
No,
many
no, no, no.
programs.
I was saying that instead of offering these people with illegal guns $100 an iPad, $200, which is to me is a waste. When you find them with illegal guns, it starts from school right through. Part of the penalty must be they do a trade, they must be in trade school. They have to enroll in trade school even while they're serving whatever, whether it's juvenile detention, whether it's real jail. And they must be able to apprentice with a union or something like that to get. Because if they come out and they commit again, then the penalty gets harsher on them if they're not following through. We have to start doing stuff like that.
And can I answer your question?
Sure.
Right now, I can't go into detail about it, everything that I do within ACS.
Right.
But a lot of the crimes in which you see, where you see the juveniles that are doing, what is it, grab and smash, grabbing, what is it
Mm-hmm.
called?
Mm-hmm.
Smash and
Smash and
grab.
grab. Mm-hmm.
Right. A lot of them, we're still, they're convicted, which is
Mm-hmm.
going on right now, convicted of the crime. We know they did the crime. They're only getting 12 to 18 months. And
Right.
they don't even serve those 12 to 18 months
Right.
because they're putting them in certain programs. When they put them in these programs, they put them in these residential settings. They stay in these residential settings six, usually 6 months. That's it. Whereas though they'll get the therapy, they'll see a case manager. They'll still be able to visit their family on the weekend. While you stole from this establishment, and they have to close down. And I can even go deeper.
I
Youth
understand
where so that
exactly
they
what you're
rob
telling me.
people.
And
Youth where so they rob people, and
yes,
they commit crimes to the elderly.
yes.
Young man hit someone over the head. The guy, he was a Chinese man, hit him over the head. He spent only what, 6 months in the program. He got
Right.
out in 5 months. What do you say about that man, where so that victim who you hit over the head, and you're out now and you're enjoying your life? He can no longer provide for his family.
I am with you. And if we notice, like this is why I said I feel that there's nothing properly being done.
No,
I
there's
don't
nothing
say give
there.
him. I don't say give him 6 months. I say give him more. Personally,
And that's where I'm at. And that's why a lot of time I was just on a call a few minutes ago, and I was arguing with the committee because I feel like the sentencing needs to be harsher, but it does not come from ACS. It's coming from the judges. It's not
right.
coming from us, it's coming from them. And they're giving them those light sentencing. So therefore, they're committing recidivism, and they're coming back into the system constantly because they know this is going to happen. So older adults, what they're doing is the older adults, whereas though they're in their 30s and their 40s, gang affiliated, they have these 16 and 17-year-olds commit these crimes because they
Yes.
know that they're not going to do anything but just get a slap on the wrist. So they're going to tell little David, you go out there and you commit that crime, that smash and grab. You smack the lady over the side of the head, you rob her, you bring that money to me
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to get any time.
And I'm very aware of that. And that is why I say,
Yeah, but
instead
a
of
lot of
giving them
people are not
6
aware
months,
that this is going on.
right. But this is why I'm saying, instead of giving them 6 months, don't tell me it's bail reform, it's the problem. Just tell me you have to really work on your system properly, whether it's the justice, the correctional, the criminal system, everything has to work together. Okay, just don't. I kept hearing, they kept telling me on Monday, oh, it's bail reform. The
No, it's
lieutenant
not.
at the precinct was saying bail reform. I was like, no, nonsense. I know that in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, work. If you give that kid 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and in that 4 years' time, he grabs a trade while he's inside
Yes.
and
Yes.
gets an apprenticeship while he's
Mm-hmm.
there, so that when he comes out, one of the things he has to do now, he's got a job.
Yes. And he'll be
If
productive.
he goes and he repeats, he gets a harsher sentence. And that was my whole point on Monday's meeting with the president, with the precinct when I said it. But you keep telling me it's bail reform problem. It's not a bail reform issue. We have to address our problems. And I see it as excuses all the time because people don't want to deal with it because of money. When it gets to elections time, you're always asking for money. Somebody grease your palm. The prisons are an investment. People make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the issue that we're getting.
Cheap labor.
So I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, it could be very frustrating because I was just on the A train just this week and I saw a young man. He had on some nice sneakers. He had a cell phone and he was biracial. He was looking at his cell phone, not paying attention to anything. And he had a Foot Locker bag in his hand. He had a
Mm,
Foot Locker bag in one hand, his cell phone in one hand. And you could see that he just bought the sneakers.
right.
Young guys, they were on a train, they were looking at him. It was four of
Mm,
them. They gave each other signs. And I, because
mm,
I'm very observant, just because I work with juveniles,
mm,
gave each other signs to let them know we're getting him. Right on nose string, because I live right on the nose string. Let
mhm,
them know we're getting him.
mhm,
I was trying to let the guy know, like, to give him the signal. He
mhm,
not paying no attention because he's on his cell phone. I'm like,
Mm-mm-mm.
hey, on his cell phone, he act like I'm getting ready to ask him for some money or stuff. So I'm trying to let you know you're getting ready to get robbed.
mhm,
Mm, mm,
But he was
mm,
so focused on his cell phone.
mhm,
But, so I don't know what took place, because they did
mhm,
follow him.
mhm.
This was on the train.
Yeah. Hmm.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. This was on the train. Yeah. But
I
my
don't even know
thing,
how people ride the train with things in their ears because you won't know what's going on.
no, no. And I shared this with my coworkers too. I said, so if they robbed him, he'll come into the program. Those guys, they're not
Mhm,
going to get anything.
mhm,
They're going to be there, like she said, 6 months,
mhm,
and that's it. And what are you actually learning from that experience? What are you learning? Because they're going to be released back into the same community,
mhm,
committing the same crime.
mhm. Yep. And it's the
So
same
when
thing
does
we're
it end?
having with housing. It's the same issue we're having with housing. And if we don't stand up and speak up about the reform of the criminal justice system, if we don't speak up about housing, they continue the same way. It's the same. It's the same thing. Just like I'm telling you, I see it in front of my eyes. So regardless of what it is, we have to start standing and demanding what we want from the politicians. I don't care
Mm,
if it's your next door neighbor. I don't care. I'm at that point. I don't care. If it's not going to benefit the community, no, the answer is no.
Right.
And that's what we have to start doing.
Ms. Jordan?
So
Ms. Jordan?
we're late.
No,
Yes.
Ms. Jordan is there. I see her name. I'm asking her if she has anything to say.
No, no, no. Just get a stand form, and see what we can get done.
Well, we're running late. We are about
Yes,
to
we are. And I
adjourn.
was trying to find out if anyone else had any comments to make before we end the meeting, because I think you pretty much have put the finishing touches on the remarks. Miss Jordan?
No, she went downstairs. But I
Okay.
don't have anything else to say.
Frenchie, I sent you an email.
Okay, thank you. Let me check.
Mhm.
Oh, no, I didn't
Miss
get any.
Duke, are you still there? Well, Miss Gray,
Yes.
like I said, I think you put the finishing touches on it. And I was just wanting to know if anybody else had anything to say before we adjourn for the evening. Can I have a motion to end the meeting?
Motion to end the meeting.
No second?
I second.
Right.
Thank you. All right, you all have a good night.
You too. Frenchie, I just sent you my email in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Mhm.
Okay.
Grab it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night,
night.
everyone. Good night.
Good night.